Lawyer, counselor, attorney, barrister, defender, solicitor, no matter how you say it. My guest today is actually responsible for the office that has 1,000 of them, 1,000 lawyers to be exact. I'm delighted to be joined today by LA County District Attorney Jackie Lacey. So nice to have you here.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to your viewers about what's going on in the DA's office.
So this DA's office is truly the largest in the country. So given that scope and scale, I mean, what are the fundamental responsibilities of the LA County District Attorney?
Well, we're a constitutional office, and our job is to prosecute cases that come before us. And people get a little confused because there are actually 9 city attorneys in addition to the DA's office, and those city attorneys do the misdemeanors in those areas, and we do all of the felonies throughout LA County, and we do the misdemeanors in the unincorporated area. So we're responsible for a tremendous amount of cases. We probably look at 120,000 police reports and review them for filing cases in 1 year's time.
In your world, I would imagine there have been a huge domino effect of things that have had to change and had to be adjusted within the district attorney's office for the pandemic. What are some of the challenges you faced in order to be able to adjust to this?
You know, the biggest challenge is we're courtroom people, right? We do a lot of our work in the courtroom. And the biggest challenge is figuring out how to safely advocate in court. And that's been the biggest challenge. So we have a number of our employees that our lawyers are able to appear virtually via video,
Oh, really?
but it really isn't the same all the time. You know, a lot of times we need the lawyer actually in court advocating or talking. One challenge I'm kind of excited about meeting next week, for instance, is we're going to bring jurors in for a jury trial. Yeah, next week.
Virtually or live?
Well, it'll be partially virtual, but there may be a time where jurors are actually in the courtroom, and we'll litigate it as it goes along. So remember, if you've ever done jury service, they bring a big, huge group of people in, right? And you can't do that with social distancing. So they'll probably be appearing a smaller group of people, probably virtually via Zoom or something like that. But it'll be exciting to see how it goes, because as you know, just getting jurors to pay attention on Zoom might be difficult. What about a defendant? Doesn't he or she have the right to have the jurors in the courtroom? And also think about judging a witness's credibility virtually. That may be very different from actually seeing them. And also, you know, the public has the right to have access to a trial. And so even having the court figure that piece of it out will be interesting. We'll be venturing into areas that we've never ventured in before.
Well, that's big picture stuff. So I'd love to hear some things. You know, you've had a lot of specific priorities, in your tenures, your 2 terms, your effort to protect seniors, your effort to stop and help those who've been human trafficked, the unhoused and the mentally ill. How do you feel all of those things that have been projects, initiatives, and priorities for you, how do you feel they are right now? Where are they in their standing?
I think we've made substantial improvements on a number of fronts. For instance, with seniors, I got involved in that project because of my mother was scammed by a phone con artist who said, we have your grandson in jail, don't tell anybody, but just wire cash to this particular place.
Or did they pick the wrong woman?
They picked the wrong family, I must tell you, because we all got involved in stopping it. But it got me to thinking that there are a lot of seniors who are falling victims to that. So we have been on a very deliberate, robust campaign to let seniors know via videos and pamphlets that, hey, look, be aware of this, that if somebody asks for any personal information, be wary and hang up. So we've done that. With human trafficking, I'm most proud of the fact that we stopped really going after the women and the girls who are on the street because we started to ask the question, who's making that money? And really we've gone after traffickers in a very robust and and I think the right, in my opinion, the right way. Some of those traffickers are getting life in prison who are trafficking girls and women, and as they should, because this is a terrible thing to enslave someone and force them to use their bodies in order for you to benefit. But mental health. Now, we're in the process, it's been 5 years since I published the Blueprint for Change, and we're in the process now looking to see where are those differences. And one report that I think would be interesting for our viewers to note is in Los Angeles City. The police department, LAPD, noted that there was a 43% decrease in the use of force against those who have a mental health crisis. That's huge. That should be on billboards. And much of it has been because we've invested in mental health treatment more, and we've trained officers in de-escalation. We run our own training academy where we train officers, but I'd love to see those numbers go down further. And that's the work I really want to do, is see if we can further improve this area and get people help, because a lot of the people are being warehoused in the jail. And I'm certain that even based on the reports that I've seen, that if we had the right mental health services in place, we just would not need to have these people in jail. And jail really should be reserved for those who are a danger to our society.
You did say that you have the de-escalation training, but you also have a training within your department, which I thought was interesting, especially given the current social unrest and the current issues of racism that need to be addressed, universally. You have bias training.
Yeah. I am the first African American to hold this position, the first woman. I openly talked about race with my family growing up. My parents were from the South, the Jim Crow South, and they openly talked to me about these issues. It wasn't until I got to be an adult that I realized that not everyone openly talks about race. As a matter of fact, in some households it's taboo. But in the LA County DA's office, where we're serving a community which is mostly people of color, we have got to discuss it. We've got to make sure that there aren't policies that discriminate, and more importantly, let the public know that we're about seeking justice without regard to people's race or gender or sexual orientation. So I was one of the first department heads, I may have been the first, to mandate it for everyone in my department. I'm very proud of the fact that our management team embraced it and our folks embraced it, and I think we're a better office because of it.
Did you feel the weight of being not just the first woman LADA, but also the first woman of color?
I never imagined that I would be a prosecutor, really didn't know what prosecutors did. And I certainly never imagined that I would lead the largest office in the nation. You get a lot of feedback, particularly from girls of color, and you can see it. They're looking at you and you're thinking, okay, you have given me hope. And there's a responsibility with that. You want to not just be the first person of your race or the first woman, you want to be the best, right? And so you want to make sure that you do things for the right reasons, that you never embarrass the office, that you achieve, that you accomplish things, because you know that there are people who are inspired by watching you, and they may be inspired to also seek to be the first in their field. So it's an extra weight, but I'm glad to have it, glad to be the one.
If someone wanted to get information about what is happening,
so go to our website. You can just Google now Los Angeles County District Attorney. Go to our website, check in regularly, but also sign up for our monthly newsletter. I said weekly, monthly newsletter, and you'll get the information delivered to your email box. But there's plenty of information. Look under reports in our office, and you'll be able to see a lot of the great things we do. And look under our press releases. We put out more press releases now than we ever have, and so there's a lot of reports. There's also something called a biannual report. Read those so you'll get a chance to really know your DA's office.
Excellent. Well, it's been delightful talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and that's a wrap on this edition of LA Currents.